In this video, I'm going to talk about documenting versus directing, when to step in, when to be more passive, why this matters, and by the end of the video, you should have a pretty clear idea on how you can make films that both look good and tell a good story. Let's dive in. Hey, I'm Rue. I'm a documentary filmmaker and outdoor storyteller based in Boulder, Colorado, sitting here at the base of the foothills in the Rocky Mountains. Here today to talk to you about when to be more active and passive as a filmmaker. Over my career making these documentary films, I've learned that there's a fine balance between when to direct and when to just step back and document. So I'm going to walk through 3 reasons when to direct and document, and then I'm going to walk 3 reasons why this matters for your filmmaking career. And the first and most important part is that directing is active and documenting is passive. This matters a lot when it comes to storytelling because there are situations as a documentary filmmaker in which it might be better to actually step back, to be passive, to let the real life event unfold in front of your eyes. A lot of my stories revolve around depth of human emotion. You might see people journey through a lot of emotional character arcs in my films. You might see people search to overcome a certain type of trauma. You might watch people push themselves past their physical limits, which has a huge emotional toll on them or their family. This emotional depth comes from sitting back as a filmmaker and letting your character experience an actual emotion that is relevant to the situation that they're in. But if you only step back and you're only documenting this situation, you miss the opportunity to get certain shots that are crucial for storytelling, which is when directing comes in. Directing, you start to become a little bit more of an active participant, and you can start to step in and ask for certain shots. You can start to shape certain visuals to look the way you want, even though it might not be 1000% true to the story, true to the situation. You can ask them to maybe walk this section of the trail again. You can ask them to take another lap on their skis. You can ask them to do a specific climbing move because showing a close-up of their hand in the crack might help communicate more effectively what the route entails rather than just letting the experience unfold. So in filmmaking, I use this balance all the time. Let the situation play out and know when to step in and get the shots that you need to better communicate the story and better communicate the emotions that your characters are going through. Because, and this brings me to number 2, directing gives you better visuals and documenting gives you better storytelling. Of course, as a director, you are in charge of the whole video production process. Oh, hey, quick thing. I write a free newsletter about outdoor storytelling, creative clarity, and building memorable content I think you'll enjoy. If you want to keep learning how to make work that's thoughtful, profitable, and creative, it's linked in the description below. All right, back to the video. Your job as a director is to make sure it looks good, that it sounds good, that it feels good, that it's the emotional character development that you want. Your job is to oversee the edit, make sure that the edit flows well, that the color looks good. There's so much to the video production process that you oversee. And as a director, make sure you step in and get the visuals that you need. A huge mistake I made early on was not doing this and relying a lot on just documenting the experience that the character was going through. As a result, I made documentaries that I think felt pretty good and felt pretty true to the real life experience, but I ended up shooting a bunch of medium shots or a bunch of wide shots because I felt uncomfortable asking for those closer moments, asking for athletes to do part of the trail again, asking for them to get up at sunrise or sunset so we can get more B-roll to communicate their story. But I've also seen filmmakers make the inverse problem, where they solely are focusing on the visuals and getting all the cool stuff, and they're forgetting that there is a real life experience happening in documentaries that is what makes the documentary genre really special. One thing I love about the documentary genre is it's real people experiencing real life in a way that is slightly elevated. It's a slightly more cinematic version of reality. You watch people just like you and me go out, push themselves, go out, experience something memorable, and you can watch the beauty of the world and the beauty of life unfold in front of the camera. So if you're only focused on good visuals, you might miss out a little bit on what some of the beauty of the documentary genre even allows for, which for me is holding up a mirror to some of the uplifting stories that I see here in the outdoors. Those are my personal interests, but regardless of what it is for you, have a think about why it is that you want to make a documentary. If you want to make a documentary because you want it to look really good, maybe opt for a different type of format, because documenting is a core part of documentaries. Which brings me to my final point about when to document and when to direct. And don't worry, we're gonna get into why all this matters in a second. When you're directing, you make the moment happen. When you document, you watch the moment happen. I know this is a documentary video, but let me give a little bit more of a commercial analogy for you real quick. This past summer, I worked on a campaign where we were trying to bring authentic storytelling to outdoor advertising for a health and wellness company here in Colorado. My goal with this project was to make it feel as experiential as possible. I wanted this to feel like people were watching real people go through a fun, slightly elevated version of their reality to sort of, quote, meet the moment. That was the name of the campaign. They wanted to meet the moment. For this Meet the Moment campaign, we had a lot of scenes in which I would direct the talent to do certain things, which made this feel less like documenting and more like directing. I was trying to make a moment happen. In order for them to meet the moment, I sort of had to make the moment. We had to manufacture scenes where we would go by the creek and we would have them tube down the creek. We had to manufacture moments by getting next to a campfire. We manufactured moments by having them walk through the field. These were all active directing moments where we were sort of making a moment. Once the moment was made, my role was to step back a little bit and to watch the moment unfold. I know this is a maybe different approach than what you see some commercial directors do, but once the scene was sort of made and the hair and makeup was done and the styling was done, I sort of stepped back and kind of just watched the moment unfold. Yes, I would prompt talent to do certain things, but sometimes I'd just be like, hey, go and have this moment. You guys are at the creek, you have your tubes, go do some stuff. And then I would sit back and watch it happen. There are times when you have to sort of make the moment happen. Maybe you're asking all your characters to sit around the dinner table and talk to each other. You're sort of manufacturing this moment. Once that's in place, your role is to step back and sort of watch the magic unfold. All right, now that you know the difference between documenting and directing, and maybe you have a slight inclination on when to use either, I'm gonna talk about why this matters. Because in documentary filmmaking, I think of your relationship with your characters as building rapport. The more trust and connection and rapport you have built with the people in front of your camera, the more you can ask them to do certain things. I like to think of this rapport or this amount of connection that you have as a sort of bucket. This bucket, when you first start filming somebody, might be empty. You might never have met them before. You might have only had a brief pre-call introduction to them when you're chatting about the filmmaking process, kind of explaining why it is that you want to make a documentary about them. And your bucket might be empty. You might have not built any rapport. You might not really have a connection yet. But over time, as you hang out a little more, as you turn off the cameras and kind of just chat with them, that rapport bucket will start to fill. You'll start to feel a little bit more comfortable with each other. And that is when you can start to take things out of the rapport bucket, which is maybe asking things of them. It's important that first off, you build this rapport bucket. But then I think it's also important that you are constantly taking stuff out of it and putting more into it. When you take stuff out of it, that means asking for things. That means asking to get up at sunrise or go out at sunset to make sure you get the beautiful visuals. It's asking them to redo certain things so you can get better shots. It's asking them to maybe have uncomfortable conversations on camera, whether with friends, family, or just with you in an interview. The more you build up this rapport, the more you can take out of it. So maybe you've built up to be really good friends and you can ask really uncomfortable things that you think might make it better on camera. Once your rapport bucket is super filled, you might ask, hey, I know it's pretty uncomfortable, but I would love to get a shot of you in the morning getting out of bed to showcase what you go through to get in your wheelchair in the morning. Once you have a little bit more of a connection with them, you might ask a little bit more vulnerable questions on camera because you know that they're gonna respect you and they're gonna trust that you're gonna do what's right for them and the story. And you might be able to bring a little bit more vulnerability out in your characters. You might be able to more accurately reflect the situation because you're making harder questions and you're making bigger asks. And in this way, as I've talked about, you're bringing a balance to the film. You're bringing good visuals. You're making these hard asks. You're bringing the tough questions in. You're directing the narrative of the documentary. But you're also knowing when to step back and to allow a real moment to take place. The point of this video is not to say directing is the way to go. You should always be directing, even as a documentary filmmaker. It's also not to say that as a documentary filmmaker, you should step back and you should only document and you should never step in and ask for things. The key to a successful documentary director is to balance both. To know when to step in, to know why you're stepping back to document. And the more you do this and the more you practice this relationship between documenting and directing, the more trust your characters will have in you, the better your films will become, and the more you can strengthen both your storytelling abilities and your ability to get good visuals. And this matters a lot when it comes to client work. Not necessarily commercial client work, when it comes to documentary client work. For me personally, a vast majority of my income comes from telling these branded documentaries. They come from docu-style commercials. And clients over time have learned to trust that I know the difference between documenting and directing, which means regardless of the scale of their project, I can step in to do certain types of real-world storytelling. And this matters because let's say a client comes to you wanting the cinematic quality of the outdoors, but they want it to feel somewhat documentary. You know that you can step in and you can direct a little bit more to make that happen. Another company might come to you saying that they have an athlete that's going to do this really rad event that they want showcased, and they want to make a little athlete profile about the athlete and their mission and why they're stepping up in their community. And this relationship between documenting and directing then becomes really important because you know as a part of the event, you might be taking a little bit more of a backseat and documenting what's happening. Of course, you'll step in and document as needed. You'll maybe ask some people to do some things for the camera, but for the most part, in that situation, you might be directing a little bit more, which means regardless of the types of projects that come your way, you know you can step in as a competent documentary director and create the type of film that people want to see. Then on your own time, you can go and practice in passion projects, maybe a film that has a little bit more directing because you've been documenting a lot for client work. Or maybe you're doing a lot more directing and for personal passion projects, you want to try a little bit more of documenting, seeing the real world unfold in front of your eyes. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to that newsletter in the link in the description. There's a lot of helpful tips in there about building memorable content, about outdoor storytelling and creative clarity that I think you'll really enjoy. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.